you go down and then you go up to make it better, make it better. Down on the ground, it's just one way up. Make it better, make it better. If you stand by me, I will stand by you. To make it better, make it better.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Rise Up with Rebecca Seawright on the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I'm Assemblymember Rebecca Seawright, serving the Upper East Side, Yorkville, and Roosevelt Island, and hosting tonight from my East 79th Street district office. Tonight, we will be talking about minority and women-owned business enterprises. MWBEs have come to constitute a large percentage of businesses in New York State. Just like small businesses, they are increasingly crucial to our economy's growth. I'm Assemblymember Rebecca Seawright, and I am here as a strong advocate for the MWBE program and co-sponsored legislation passing both houses to extend and improve the MWBE program, which helps ensure these businesses have fair and equal access to state contracts. In 2014, New York State set the utilization goal in New York State contracting at 30%. In the upcoming session, I am currently co-sponsoring legislation to address and eliminate barriers to participation by enhancing Article 15A provisions, including state agency commodity and service procurement. To provide relief for small businesses, including certified MWBEs, I am co-sponsoring legislation establishing the MWBE Business Protection Plan to encourage and assist contracting agencies in their efforts to increase participation by MWBEs on state contracts. I am pleased to co-sponsor a measure to make a database of each contracting agency's minority and women-owned business enterprises certification outreach seminars. This will help as we prepare to come out of this pandemic and increase our support for local business. Joining me are two leaders and experts this evening on MWBEs in New York City and New York State. Sandra Wilkin, founder and president of Bradford Companies. Sandra Wilkin has built Bradford Construction Corporation into one of the leading women-owned construction firms, nationally recognized, earning her the title of Hard Hat with Style from Crane's New York Business. On the vanguard of the construction industry, Sandra Wilkin has been a passionate advocate for the advancement of women, minorities, and small businesses in the industry. Ms. Wilkin was responsible for the disparity study funded by the New York City Council, which provided objective and scientific proof of the need to direct construction dollars, subcontracting opportunities, and technical support to MWBE firms. As a founder and president of the Women's Builder Council, she's been involved in advancing the role of women in the public and private sectors of the construction and building fields. She developed the council's campaign to break the concrete ceiling for women. Her involvement and that of the council has a strong impact on public policy. A popular speaker on women and small business issues in the industry, she often serves as a mentor and strategic advisor to emerging firms. Welcome, Sandra Wilkin, to our show.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member, and it's always wonderful to hear what you have done and are continuing to do to legislate for policies and fairness for diversity for minority and women-owned businesses in the Assembly.
Thank you, Sandra Wilkin. And our other speaker joining in this evening is Jerome DuVal, Executive Vice President and Executive Director of the Division of Minority and Women's Business Development for the Empire State Development Corporation. In December of 2020, Jerome DuVal joined the New York State Empire State Development Corporation to lead the Division of Minority and Women-Owned Businesses Development. The program promotes equality of economic opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses, enterprises, MWBEs, participation in New York state contracts, and encourages state agencies toward a fair share of contracts to MWBEs. The division is responsible for reviewing applications by businesses seeking certification and maintaining a directory of certified MWBEs. Mr. DuVal brings over 25 years of diverse experience to this new role. He has worked at the local, regional, and national levels of government, as well as nonprofit and private sectors. His career has focused around community and economic development, workforce development, business development, technology, and building national programs. We welcome Mr. DuVal to our show this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Seawright. This is an honor to, at this point in the program, for me to be able to join and really talk about how we're innovating forward, how we're improving our business processes, and really continuing to remove those barriers for state contracting opportunities for MWBEs and small business seeking certification. So today, I'm really excited to share some of the work that we are doing, some of the work we have planned, and really how we're innovating forward.
Terrific. Well, thank you. And we're going to lead off this evening with Ms. Wilkin. Can you explain to our viewers how you became involved with MWBEs?
Well, Assembly Member, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, this was back in the 1970s, actually, when I saw on my black and white TV both Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, and Congresswoman Bella Abzug actually marching down Fifth Avenue and talking about what I never heard of at the time was feminism, and what the feminism has now meant to me and so many other women. At the time, I was just coming out of high school and knowing that my role seemed to be both either being a nurse or a teacher, both worthy professions, or a secretary, also a worthy profession. But something I wanted was a little different, and the focus of saying that you can do more in what you were normally thought to do was the reason that I sought to continue in my education for both construction management and in that regard, going to classes. I literally was the only woman in my class at the time. So as they say, we have come a long way, but truly that was my inspiration at the time to find an area and which I love, which is the building industry.
Well, how wonderful, and what a mentor to young women going into a non-traditional field and really creating that pathway. We stand on the shoulders of others. And so thank you, Sandra, for sharing that story with us. And Mr. DuVal, how did you get involved in the MWBE field?
Thank you so much, Assembly Member. I actually sort of kind of grew up in it, right? Coming from a very large family of being the youngest of 21, grew up upstate New York in a little town called Wilkin, New York, with only 4,300 population, and have always grown up around a family member who was either an entrepreneur, my sister Joyce in Sodus, New York, who has a fruit stand, my sister Janice, who has a restaurant, and my sister, Jackie, who has a hair salon. And so my parents were always entrepreneurs. And so I just sort of kind of happened in this, grew up around it, and have always focused on women issues, just because I was raised by 13 beautiful women, including my mom. So I started out in neglect, abuse, sexual assault, rape, and homicide, for a victim service agency here in New York called Safe Horizon, which is one of the largest victim service agencies. My career, moving fast forward, led me into economic development and focused around community-based issues out of Washington, D.C., and really worked under Mayor Williams at the time around the resurgency, and really focused a lot of my work around workforce development and ensuring that government was providing the services to meet the needs of the people. And then recently, prior to taking on this role, was the Director of Community and Economic Development in Northeast Ohio. And so I have really, everything has led back in giving me the skills, tools necessary to prepare me for this role that I'm in now. And I'm really excited to really talk about the work that New York State is doing. It's great to be back home, let me say that. And so, you know, the governor recently announced that we have surpassed the 30% nation-leading utilization rate for MWBEs. What that really means is over $3 billion, which is real money to real people. And you know, we did this during a time when no one thought it was possible, during unimaginable times, which we're still struggling with today. But we kept a focus and a priority and a commitment to MWBEs and working with the agencies and authorities, and under the leadership of Governor Hochul, we have surpassed, for the first time in the history of the program, you know, our utilization goals. And so we're going to continue to work tirelessly to ensure that we level the playing field, and not just for small businesses, but with a focus on making sure that Black and brown businesses that traditionally have been left behind during most emergencies, and certainly during this emergency, as we continue to struggle through the COVID-19 pandemic and with the new variant coming on. I mean, we need to make sure that we are taking a surgical approach, and we are intentional in our efforts to ensure that, you know, we continue to provide a pathway to opportunities here in New York State.
Well, that is wonderful. And you said your hometown was about what, 4,000 population? Did I hear
So
you
half
correctly?
of it was my family, obviously, right?
Well, you're a true jewel for New York State, and it's welcome to have you back in New York doing all that you're doing as the state director. And I come from a tiny town of 1,600, so 4,000 sounds like a big city to me. I come from Bosque County, Texas. We're the county seat with the courthouse of 1,600 population. And our small businesses are the backbone of our society. And I see here in my district on the Upper East Side and on Roosevelt Island how important small business is. And so our next question focuses on how does a business become MWBE certified? And can you explain how entrepreneurs may get involved in this program? And I just want to also point out that if we have some entrepreneurs out there or existing businesses that would like to get certified, they can reach out to our office at 212-288-4607, and we will help to walk you through that process. But if you could explain to us, Director DuVal, how does the person get certified?
Absolutely, that's an excellent question. One of the things we've been focused on is really trying to demystify the certification process, with really empowering businesses with tools and resources to really meet them where they are, but also help them navigate the criteria to become certified. So one of the first things I would encourage businesses that are listening and entrepreneurs is to go to our website, esd.gov, and look at, on the first page is the first step towards certification, which is our MWBE self-assessment tool. We are really excited about this tool because this is the first of its kind in the nation. And what it does is, in a quick 10 minutes, it gives a business a simple assessment to really understand if they meet the MWBE criteria, and if they don't, what to do next, which is really directing them off to technical assistance at our EACs, our PTACs, our small business development centers. We are in the certification business, and our goal is to certify any business that meets 15A criteria. And I'll be honest, it hasn't always been, as transparent of how do you navigate the process. And so we want to make that process easy. We want to streamline it, and we want to make it, it's always been free, right? But we want to make it fast and easy, as well as continuing to be free. And so the first step, take the self-assessment tool. The second step, if you do meet the minimum requirement, I would ask you to continue to move forward in the application process. One of the most important things that we find that slows down the review process is businesses not submitting a complete application. Completeness of the application is key. And so, if there's one thing to take away from this conversation today, it's okay if you're not ready to submit an application and you need to work to build capacity in your business. That's okay. But most people think that because they're a woman, and because they are a minority, that they qualify. There are 23 different criteria for MWBE certification. You must meet all of those criteria. And so operation independence and control is in capital, is very important, and are things that we look at from our analysts who review those applications. And so, one of the things that I would encourage businesses to do is, not only identify the opportunity, connect with the agencies in authority, but make sure you are prepared. Make sure you have the documents ready that need to be submitted. And that can help us speed up the review process. And so we're really excited. We have over 9,200 certified businesses on the directory. So what that tells me is that, one, we have to continue to be advocates for small businesses. We will continue to assume positive intent. We understand that most businesses that come to us come in goodwill, and our job is to help them navigate the certification process. And we will do that by, ensuring that we practice blameless problem solving, and that we ensure that we are exceeding the customer expectation and overlaying customer care in everything that we do. And so I'm really excited to talk more about this because, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. And so thank you very much for the question.
Well, thank you. Those are some really great tips. And Ms. Wilkin, do you have something to add or to share with our viewers on getting certified as a MWBE?
I think Mr. DuVal, Jerome, has really set the guidelines that are there. It is a doable process. One thing for sure, with entrepreneurs, in particular small businesses, the will is there. It's a matter of getting all the information. Sometimes I know when I was one of the reasons I decided to go into the industry when 15A came about, and the decades later, though, the opportunities that are there. So get certified and know that if there are questions that you have, it's so glad to hear that your office assembly member and New York State and the Governor Hochul, who is such also passionate and a true advocate to making sure that more firms do get certified and do business with New York State.
Great, thank you. And congratulations to New York State and our Governor Hochul and Director DuVal for exceeding the goal of 30%. As you pointed out, this is the first time, I guess, in the history of New York that that's been attained. And I know in my district of Roosevelt Island, the REOC, Roosevelt Island Operating Corporation, was just given an award in Albany last week. So we want to congratulate them. During COVID, many of our small businesses and industries have suffered. What programs are there that exist with the MWBE initiatives assisting small businesses through the pandemic?
Excellent question. One of the things we know that there are two challenges, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, right, is access to capital and bonding for small businesses. And so one of the things I'm excited to share is that under the leadership of Governor Kathy Hochul, we have released the $800 million pandemic relief program. And that information can be accessible on our website. But we've not stopped there, right? Because we understand that MWBs and small business have been disproportionately impacted by this pandemic. And so through our small business development and technical assistance, there are additional resources. We even have on our page a MWBE pandemic resource guide that will lead you to those available resources. The governor has also recognized that, you know, residents of New York State are also suffering with renter assurance, renter assistance. And so the governor has recently rolled out a new program to assist New Yorkers to help navigate during this pandemic. The other thing that I want to highlight, Assemblymember, is that this year, out of the $10 billion in contracting opportunities, right? 3 billion of that went to MWBEs. And I want to qualify that to say that for minority businesses, that represent a little over $1.5 billion. And from women-owned businesses, that represented a little over $1.6 billion. So our New York State contract reporter can be accessible where all of the 97 agencies and authorities opportunities are listed. And we encourage MWBEs that want to be certified, entrepreneurs who are seeking certification, to really tap into those resources that are readily available. Or you can just call our customer care number, and that number can be found on our website. And we are here to help you. And so we want to continue to support MWBEs now and going forward.
Well, thank you. That is so important. And in this pandemic, we need to do all that we can to support our businesses. And again, if you're having any trouble with the portal or filling out the numerous forms, please call our office and we will help walk you through that. Our next question I want to ask Ms. Wilkin, you've been a champion for the advancement of women in a male-dominated industry, such as construction. Have you seen any positive changes in recent years? And in your opinion, have women broken the concrete ceiling, or is there more room for diversity and inclusion in this field?
Speaking to a mentor, assembly member, and all the things that you have done to help guide us and put through and helping to break that concrete ceiling, we have seen advances, no doubt, for women in the industry, in particular in the construction industry. More women are going into engineering. More women are also looking at the trades. Being a plumber in New York or electrician through the unions are it's an incredible opportunity in terms of a trade, and also in becoming, providing a vastness in our industry. We also see that there is a crisis coming about in our industry, in that there is a high rate of retirement. So it is really up to us to encourage women and being a diverse group, making sure that they have the right programs, both at the various agencies, that they have the right studies that they're taking. We know that this is done brick by brick to make sure that women do have opportunities. I love the quote from Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, that if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. So there is plenty of opportunity, and women have to go for it and seek out those opportunities, but they are definitely there and advancing.
Well, thank you. And yes, I love that quote. If you don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. The MWBE program is such a wonderful administered program in New York State. And I want to encourage all of our viewers to reach out if you have questions. And I want to thank my special guest this evening, Director Jerome DuVal of the MWBE program at the Economic Development Corporation, and Sandra Wilkin, founder and president of Bradford Companies. Thank you both for sharing your expertise with our viewers. And we look forward to continuing this next legislative session, to passing legislation, strengthening and building upon the very successful MWBE program that exists in New York State. I'm Rebecca Seawright. I want to thank you for watching Rise Up on the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Thank you.
First you go down and then you go up.